All right. First of all, overall thoughts on the whole day.
Honestly, pretty good Rocket League. I mean, I think overall, I was a little surprised about some of the games. I mean, I think all my predictions were wrong. So, but overall, I was pretty happy with it. I think the production was solid as well. I like that they announced, the lands and stuff, and we'll definitely get into that later. But I think my overall takeaway from it was overall pretty good. Would have loved to see GT take it though.
Reed?
Yeah, I mean, really good day. Grand finals, Sundays don't disappoint in this esport. We had 2 game 7s and a game 6. Really can't ask for much more. But besides that, they did announce Worlds, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, that's sick.
Yeah.
But I can't help to say that I'm a little bit sad, and I think it was a little bit lame how we're repeating London and Fort Worth. Great lands, great locations, but I really think mixing it up and spreading out where the lands are at is something that's really cool about this esport. So the fact that we're repeating basically what was almost a season ago or 2 seasons ago is a little bit sad. But I'm at least happy they announced it and people are out there, to buy tickets whenever they need, pre-plan. It's going to be a good land, but if I'm being nitpicky, I wish it was somewhere else.
No, honestly, I completely agree with you. When I saw that it was Fort Worth again, my first thought was didn't we just go there a year ago? And especially because we're going to Copenhagen, we're in Copenhagen right now. That's a very extravagant, nice location. In London, I was okay with London because I was, London's always a good land. But then having another land that we've already done relatively recently as well, I don't know. I'm a little upset with it. But it is what it is. And I'd love to see, especially with Blast. Blast has access to a lot of different locations that they've done before. So I'd love to see, maybe something that Blast have done for other games and bring it to RL. But we'll have to wait and see.
I think so. Yeah, I saw your tweet. Reed, you instantly tweeted out that you kind of wish there was new locations because we are going back to locations we were just at. 2 years ago, we went to Fort Worth, Texas. Now, I will say, I think the arena is badass. The Dickies Arena is huge. I forget how many it holds, but it is huge. So
it's
that
11K or something.
Yeah, it is huge and it's cool. But also at the same time, I can get it because you want somewhere new locations. I know some people were like, "Oh, I saw Tenacity tweet out, let's get one in Florida or something, a little bit different." But at the same time, dude, I remember when I went the Boston major a couple, what was it, a year ago. That major was so damn expensive, the Airbnbs and the location. I don't mind having it in Texas because, dude, you can get an Airbnb with 5 people and you're in a fucking mansion. So I really don't mind it. But yeah, man. Any other thoughts on the day? I'm going to change the title real quick.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I think a big thing that I definitely wanted to talk about was the land location, especially just getting everyone's thoughts on it being in Texas. And I do think price is one thing that's definitely very nice. You mentioned Boston. I think I had an Airbnb with 6 people or something like that. We had a crazy split. And Texas was definitely a lot more pocket friendly. But I don't know. I mean, other than that, I think I'm pretty solid.
Yeah, 100%. So are you guys ready to jump into today?
Yeah, let's go straight into the matches.
All right, so our first match of the day, we had G2 taking on Vitality. Now, what were our predictions yesterday? I know I had G2 going to the final.
I did too.
Man. I hate to admit it, but I got nothing right today, man. I really thought that Zen was going to come out and play amazing, and he did. But wait, what's up, Kago?
Did you not pick Gentlemates? I thought you picked Gentlemates.
No, dude, I had K-Corp and Vitality.
I had K-Corp.
Okay.
Dude,
I thought you did I thought we had me and Kep both bet against Gentlemates, and we were like, dude, how do we keep doing this? And you're like, you know what, I'm gonna bet with them.
No, dude, I don't know. It was so hard for me to go against K-Corp, but with this Vitality team, although I do think it could have gone either way, obviously it went to game 7. I think Zen's impact on the field was unbelievable, man. He was always there to stop those shots. He was always there to put them in. Every goal that was scored by Radisson and Alpha, it felt like Zen had some sort of influence on it. I mean, his goal participation was 70%, but even with stuff that he was doing off the ball, I really do feel like Zen was insane this series. And then we saw my least favorite thing about this series was how it ended, because it was such a good series, and the game 7 OT goal was Radisson, I think it was, just driving up field, and it just rolls in. This series was so intense. Everyone was waiting for that first mistake or some crazy shot to put someone out of position. And then it just ends like that of someone driving upfield. But it was really cool to see G2 get this win. And although I did predict Vitality, I was super happy to be wrong. I'm really happy to see G2 finally make it to the finals.
Reed, what do you think? Feeling that way?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. I picked G2, shout out NA, me and Kep, Flitz, maybe EU bias, trader, whatever. We rep our country. That's what we do out here. But G2 played really well. They heated up. But I do have to say, like, Vitality, that was Swiss stage Vitality. That was not a good looking team. Zen felt as much as like a Zen 1v3, literally. Like every time he was bailing them out on defense. Radisson and Alpha. I actually don't think Alpha played that bad. I don't think Radisson played that bad, but like you can't just play like mediocre, right? Like they have to be contributors to the team all around. And it felt like Zen like would save everything, and then whenever they needed a big challenge, that was him. And whenever they needed solo play or a goal, it was just always Zen. It wasn't somebody else. But I don't know. I really do think G2 showed a lot of fight. That game 2 is honestly gonna burn Vitality for a while. It was an absolute throw. It was like 2 goals in 30 seconds.
Yep.
And a 0 second where Alpha 54 just missed the ball. Like that, if anything, was the biggest just momentum shifter. G2 capitalized, but Vitality just did not look great, if I'm just being honest.
I think for me, the big question yesterday was Vitality, is Radisson or Radossin gonna play the same as he did the following day where they beat Furia, because he was popping off like you said. And again, I think Zen performed through Swiss. I thought he performed through top 8, and then the semis, I thought he performed as well, like you guys were saying. But yeah, again, it's one of those things where nowadays the game is so damn good. You can't have 2 dudes not playing good and creating on the ball. You can't have 2 dudes that are just there and a couple hiccups here and there. But I do think what was interesting is it seems like when G2 gets momentum, they just roll. Like BDS the prior day. They lose 2 games. They call a timeout. They win 1 game, and they win the next 3 after that. They win 4 straight. Same thing here. They lose 1. They win. They then win that 1 game where you were saying, they were down 2. They come back with like 35 seconds, and they win in regulation. And then they win the next 2 games after that. And then obviously Vitality bounces back. But holy shit, what a series. But yeah, I think overall I was a little bit upset with how the series ended because, yeah, that full field fake challenge was a little bit interesting. I'm not sure how that happened. How does that even happen here?
One thing I do want to highlight, though, is I think one player that really stepped it up this series was Atomic. I think Atomic had a very, very good
his
series.
shooting was nuts.
He couldn't miss. And I think as well, although like I don't think the stats showed it as much. I felt like beast mode every time he got the ball, he did something crazy. Even if it wasn't a goal, like you pull out like some double reset or something that would get saved. But like in the mix of Atomic just not missing at all and beast mode making a lot happen, and then Daniel, pulling out some crazy shot. Like this was a relatively solid looking G2.
Yeah.
And like they definitely deserve this one. Like I said, I do wish it ended a little bit differently, but I was very impressed, especially with Atomic, who I felt like hasn't had an insane major heading into today. But he really stepped it up when he needed to.
Yeah, I think what happened on this last goal is it Alpha that pushed up or Radisson? Because one of them, so Zen is first man right now, Rado's second. So Rado is playing the touch. And it looks like, is it Alpha here, or would you guys say it was more so?
Yeah, that's Alpha. That's Alpha, 100%.
Well, the thing is, that sucks. I think it's the reason why this happened. He pushed up. Bro, Zen has been like on fire all day, and this is the worst air dribble he's probably had the entire tournament. Like, literally does nothing with the ball, gets hard slammed. So I imagine Alpha just auto assumes when he sees Zen with the ball because he knows how good he is. It's like, okay, well, he's going to put pressure on the defense. So I'm just going to start attacking because I know we're going to start offensive pressure. So I think what happened was Zen kind of like fucked up and he was like, wow.
Yeah, it's like he plays he tries to like fake out Daniel with going for a low reset and it pops up and Dan's in perfect spot for it. So he intercepts it, then instantly Atomic's there and cuts it off. I mean, it's a good play by G2 to capitalize, though.
I mean, Alpha trolled really
good. It almost looked like Zen was going to go high. Like, I honestly thought he was going to go high there. Because if he goes high there, then that just doesn't happen. But
yeah, so G2 looking good. They win that series. Moving into the next one, we have Gentlemates. I mean, the whole damn weekend, and I even tweeted this out. I said, they are the most slept-on team. It is just, I did not, dude, if you want the truth, I had this team. I got 7 out of my 8 predictions right. The one team I didn't have making it in, I had Complexity making it over Gentlemates, who ended up getting the 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
this was crazy, man. I mean, we all had K Corp winning this. Let's just be real. I don't know who had Gentlemates winning this. I feel like in general, we've been counting them out this entire prediction, this entire quick chat run that we've been having. Every time it comes to Gentlemates, we're like, they've been doing good, but they're not going to keep this up, right? I am very surprised to see this outcome. I'm a little upset because I wanted to see that K Corp G2 final. I think that would have been poetic no matter the result.
I do too.
And honestly, I don't think the final, obviously we'll get to the final a little bit later, but I really didn't expect this. One player that really impressed me today was Juicy. I felt like he had so much impact whenever he was on that ball. It always seemed like he was getting two out of the play. He did really well overall. I think Gentlemates continued to surprise me, and I'm curious to see what they'll do in the future because this win over K Corp, this was very good, and I think this was deserved. But I would love to see a little bit more from K Corp, especially because I feel like in Game 7, that's what they're known for. They're known for really going crazy in those Game 7s, and I just felt like they were never really in control. That's how I felt, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to say for me, it didn't feel like any of the K Corp players, like they were all playing, to me, like average. None of them were playing at that level. Like we saw Rise the previous day take over against, who they played? They played against Falcons, and Rise absolutely took over. It felt like they didn't have that takeover player when all three of them are capable of it. And then you have on the other team, you have someone like Juicy, who the whole damn day, the whole tournament, is having a heyday on everybody, creating. Itachi's playing solid. Seiko's playing solid. And then in Game 7, Juicy gets I think, was it a kickoff play right off the rip, and he gets a kickoff goal. I'll try to pull it up real quick. But yeah, man, I think you got to be playing better if you're K Corp. You can't have three dudes playing. I mean, they even got to Game 7 like it, so maybe I'm being a little too hard on them. But what do you think, Reed, about that? You agree?
Yeah, I mean, K Corp definitely didn't have an X factor today. They were playing like good Team Rocket League, but no like individual firepower to kind of take them over the edge. They needed one of their players to kind of be that guy to win that series. I would want to know because I do think a lot of times we do say like a player, might not have stepped up, but there's also like we never maybe give credit to the other teams for doing what they do.
That's a good point.
To shut down, like who knows if like the individuals were playing that bad or like because we're not on the field. Like maybe Gentlemates was just what they're doing was just
they're not allowing them to do anything.
Yeah, because even like G2 for 4 out of the 6 games was kind of not doing anything either. So at what point is it the players or is it the team? I mean, we don't know.
That's a good point.
Yeah, Karmine just didn't have that X factor today on Champ Sunday, which is really weird. That's kind of where Vatira and Rai shine. But I just got to give a sorry to like Gentlemates, bro. I predicted them literally to lose every time, and they proved me wrong.
Yep.
And just shout out to all of them, bro. They were so good. Like they were doing some insane stuff. It was fun to watch. They were playing like not perfect Rocket League, but pretty close to it.
And, we got to talk about Itachi's tweet right after, because you guys got to remember, Itachi's coming off of K Corp. He was on this team last season. I don't know how many of you guys saw his tweet, but you remember when he played his final event in this offseason? They won it. They hosted a tournament or something, and then after it, they announced pretty much he was crying. I think it was kind of like it was their final go with that team. They all knew it. There was already rumors of them picking up Rise and Atto. And right after he beats them, he tweets out this.
Yeah, that was funny. He has that role. Now the good thing about that is I don't know how many times they played each other online, but they did not win once. Like they played each other grand finals, he didn't get his win, but he gets to do it on LAN in the semifinals to send his old team home. Like Itachi's had the peak day today. Like he has had everything he could have wanted and more.
Yeah.
I think what's crazy about this too is I think Gentlemates was the 4 seed from EU coming into this, right? Like making that run as that 4 seed is insane. And I think one thing that I want to talk about as well is we've seen Seikoo and Itachi at this level before. Maybe not Itachi quite as this high, but like once again, I really want to highlight Juicy because Seikoo's won worlds, right? He's done wondrous things. I mean, Itachi on K Corp, that was a very, very good roster. I believe they won a major as well. I don't feel like we've ever seen Juicy play at this level, and him being able to step up, and at least personally for me, I felt like he was the player, not only for this series, but the one after. Like, I was always looking at Juicy. I really do feel like he was always doing something. I mean, that first goal in Game 7, I thought he scored that double touch, but ended up being a pass off the post. But just to go for that and be able to get it on target was super impressive for me. So it's really cool to see someone like him step up.
He was unreal. Like, bro, watching him today, it felt like I was watching like Zen with Vitality.
It really
except his
did.
teammates were like were doing more than what Radisson and Alpha were doing. Like every time Juicy had the ball, it was like air dribble, beat one guy, 50 the second, maybe even 50 the third. Like literally just everything felt like it was stemmed off of Juicy and what he was doing. And then obviously I think Seiko was defensive MVP. That dude was insane. Like anytime they needed a big save, it was Seiko or a big read, whatever. But it's just like this is what happens with majors is it's not even like you never see the team that wins not have all three players perfectly line up and play great Rocket League together.
Yep.
Like a team is not going to win if only one person's stepping up. Gentlemates, everybody was playing some of their best Rocket League and they won. So you really can't be mad. If anything, you just got to tip your cap and see if they can do it next play because now they got these expectations, right? So
Yeah,
here's
all
the
eyes
actual
are on
pressure.
him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they played great against K Corp. I was like you guys were saying, K Corp usually has the ice in Game 7, but they did lose they did lose a game. What was it? A Game 5 to Falcons. Where was that at? What day was that?
Swiss.
Yeah, they lose in Swiss in Game 5 to Falcons in a good one, and then they bounce back. They beat them, and we all had K Corp winning, and Gentlemates shock everybody again and win, and they move on to the grand final where they play a piping hot G2 who looked, in my opinion, like they were going to go on to win it all, but Mates actually ended up winning it 4-2.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We'll get into the grand final, like actually what happened, but
Hit me.
how much of a factor is it that Gentlemates played the second series and kind of just stayed on stage
Bingo.
compared to G2?
Dude, I
Do you
said the
guys
same
think that's
thing.
actually a factor?
It has to be, man. I mean, like, they're coming, not only are Gentlemates coming off a series, they're coming off a win and a good win at that. Like, not only is the physical, like, they just played, but they're so mentally pumped up where G2 is kind of calmed down a little bit. And yeah, you can try to hype yourself back up, but I don't think anything will really beat that feeling, especially when you're right after a crazy win against the number one seed that every single person predicted to beat you. You're feeling like you're on top of the world and you still have one more hill to climb. But I mean, respectfully, that's got to feel so much easier after you just beat K Corp, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy coping, but
I know. I'm
feel
seeing
like
them say we're coping. I just want to fucking
Look,
fight
man,
all. I
maybe
want to
that's crazy
fight all of
cope.
you right now.
But here's what I am going to say, though. I don't think there's a fix to that. I can't think of a single. The only thing I could maybe think of is maybe some sort of like match, like some sort of show match that doesn't really mean anything. Like I know CS just did they did like two Denmark teams play each other because they're in Copenhagen. Maybe you could do something with RL like that. But I don't know if people want to see that. People just want to hop straight into the grand finals. So even if that is something that does affect it, I don't know what you could do to change that.
Well, there are like pros and cons because I mean I was discussing this. Like if you're G2, you're studying Gentlemates film. Like there's opportunities for you to study Gentlemates films. Now I guess there might not be that much time because they probably Gentlemates win and then maybe they get rushed to the stage. But like there is also I do want to say there could be two sides to this because G2 can look at whoever they're gonna play and study them, see what they're doing that's working, like what can work, in the grand final. So I don't know. I think I'm just curious on if you guys think it's actually an advantage or if there's pros and cons to each side and it doesn't really matter.
I mean, shit. Let's reverse it on you. You're the motherfucker that's actually made grand finals and you've won a major. What do you think?
Well,
like, do you really care, or are you like, it's nice having a little break?
I would rather go second because when we lost to BDS, we were the first team that played, and we had to wait. So we went back to our practice little tent, whatever you wanted to call it, and we immediately sat down for 30 minutes. And you kind of like just sit there, like realizing, thinking your own thoughts about like just kind of like maybe a little bit of anxiety, like realizing how much you want to win, like, and then get a little bit too. I don't want to say nervous, but like you just want to win so bad that maybe you do too much or you're just like not ready. Whereas if like you are the second team, you're just in the mindset of competing the entire time. Like you really don't get out of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think actually when you ask that, I do think I'd rather go second and just not have that break at all, to be honest. Like that definitely seems the favorable option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like if you're saying you don't want to go second, okay, guys, at the end of the day, you do like Chrome said, you do have to fucking play good. You do. But you have to it's a lot better going later because you're just warmed up more. You're more locked in the zone. I mean, if you don't agree with that, you are on crack. We're not coping. I mean, maybe we are coping. But fuck it, man. Welcome to the quick chat. Welcome in, everybody. But yeah, let's jump into this grand final. We had G2, who was playing very good. Let me pull up the score. Yeah, Chrome made a good point. They win game mates the whole tourney, the weekend. They win game 1 of every single game once they hit top 8. And they win game 1, 1-0. There was a 0-second chance for the mates at the very end. And it looked like they were going to score, or for G2 to tie it. Mates make a good save. We go to a long overtime. Mates get the job done again, and it's like a show. It's like Juicy is literally popping off the whole time. When I saw him playing the way he was, and G2 weren't getting their solo plays and get their ability to have the space they wanted, I feel like you got to get, like you were saying right earlier, you got to give credit to Gentlemates instead of like, you know, saying G2 came out flat.
I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I think one thing that I want to look at is those first 3 games, like whether they had the advantage or not of like starting off, like we're beyond that. One thing I can say for sure is every goal is a 1-goal game, and there were 2 overtimes. And every single game for those first 3 games, mates were the one that came out on top. They came out there, they came swinging, and they did what they needed to do, and because of that, they were able to come away with the series.
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, to be honest, I have to give credit to Eversax. That game 4, I think one of the biggest moments that probably won't get talked about is G2 timeout. They lose game 3, not looking good, right? Game 4, they come out slapping. Game 5 come out even hotter, like 4-0. But then in the last 2 minutes, Gentlemates, when everyone thinks they're going to call a timeout because they're about to lose 2 in a row, Gentlemates scores 2 really good goals. It kind of puts the pressure back on G2. But like at the end of the game, that last minute and a half, those 2 goals and all that pressure like completely switched the momentum. And the final game where they won, Gentlemates was like the team that started off with the momentum because of that previous game. So they didn't call a timeout. They didn't kind of ice themselves out. They're like, well, we got the momentum. We scored a couple goals. We got the pressure. We figured this out. And they took it into game 6, which, you know, is really tough because most coaches, your team loses twice, you're automatically going to call that timeout, you know? But in reality, it might have iced them, and instead they just kept their momentum carrying, and it worked to their benefit.
What'd you guys think of G2's, like, you know, mates obviously did very good, but what'd you think of G2? Were you satisfied with the players' individual performances, or you know what I mean? Because I didn't think Atomic played. He was slotting shots, but I mean, there was a couple whiffs and stuff. I think one of them came out right here even. I think they all could have had a better grand final. I don't think one of them necessarily popped off. And I think the issue was the previous series, it felt like every time one of them had the ball, they were creating a play. And again, credit to mates, they did good. Atomic showed up. What do you mean? I mean, I'm just saying there was a couple whiffs like right there. These things add up.
Yeah.
But
Especially when you're in those grand final situations, like I mean, I think Stacks said something about it. Like even the slightest mistake will be detrimental in something like this. And I think the difference between this series and the Vitality series is that those small mistakes are starting to add up. Especially to me in that game 6, where you know their life's on the line. There were shooting opportunities. There were situations that could have and should have been scored.
Yeah.
And even if it was a hard shot, you have to be hitting those. And the reason and them not hitting them is the reason that mates were able to take this one away. It's really tough, and I hate to be super nitpicky, especially because G2 had a great run. But I mean, you just have to be a little bit more consistent, especially, you know, you got to make every opportunity count.
yeah, I'm not saying, guys, I know some people are like, Atomic did play good. I'm saying in the grand final, if you want to play good, like this to me doesn't mean, like some people see goals going on, they're like, oh, that's a good play. Like that's just a free goal from Seiko missing. He was slotting shots in the previous series. But I bet these guys were definitely nervous because there was times they're booming the ball when I definitely think they should have been keeping it close and had opportunities to make better plays. So I do think if you want to win, I think they have to be playing the way they did against Vitality, where they're all creating constantly. You can't have a team shutting you down for multiple games in a row. But yeah, that's my thought on that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think any of them played like fantastic in that grand final. I thought they all played good.
Yeah.
But like obviously, I mean, I think Gentlemen just played better. It kind of just felt like
Yep.
they were, I don't know. It just felt like they were like they knew they were better, and it turned out that way. Like the offensive pressure they had, the execution was off at times, but overall it was way better. Like a lot of that stuff was just, I don't know if it's kind of just simple as, G2 wasn't the better team. Like Gentlemates just played better, and unfortunately that happens. But G2 making that far was impressive. I don't know. I like that they showed resilience because that made it interesting and not a grand final that is going to be memed about how boring it is. They made it interesting. They made it fun. So they did NA proud. That's for sure.
Yeah, I remember in that game, I really thought we were going to get a game 7 when Itachi kept like smacking the fucking post. He kept smacking the post, shooting it wide, and I was like, holy shit, dude. G2, this is like, it's like right there.
Yeah,
it's looking, it's everything is lining up. When you see shit like that happening, you're like, okay, dude, the stars are lining up. But then they instantly come after that, and Juicy makes a great play. He was creating the whole time, causes a double commit, and they get a goal out of it. So
bro, I wanna shout out that play, because that play from Juicy, like, dude, that is so smart. He hits it off the wall, so it hits off the curb, so he can set up his own solo play. But when he pulls off that 50, or what I should say is he could take a 50-50 and that immediately sends the ball to who knows where. But him pulling his car back allows Atomic just to hit it to his teammate, and G2, who has no boost, they've been on pressure on their side for 30 seconds. Like, this is just the IQ that Juicy was having that no one else was like. Everything he was doing is perfect. Because he might be able to tilt his car forward, get a 50, but since he tilts his car back, it allows the ball to just him basically not hit it. But that clear, which Atomic was expecting a 50, leads right into Seiko's hands and a free shot.
I didn't even like realize that like when I was watching. Now that I'm like watching that back, that's actually insane. Like not because so many players like want to get a touch on that ball and just want to like get some sort of 50 and kind of just like leave it up to chance. But like you said, like leaving that and letting him, that's perfect.
In that pressure too, in that moment, like that's what's impressive. Like
most people aren't thinking
grand final. Like to have that, to be that locked in, to be that smart, that was like, okay, this dude is like next level right now.
He was.
It seems like that's like a big meta nowadays. I saw Rise doing it constantly yesterday, where besides like going into the 50 with someone's car, you let them play the 50 into you. And I feel like we're starting to see that. That's just becoming like the new thing that everyone is starting to pick up on.
Yeah, 50s is like the future of Rocket League right now. Like, a lot of times it's like, don't even try and risk the flip reset getting dunked. Just take the 50 and set it up for your teammate.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, then once they buried that second goal, it felt like, I mean, this shit was over. But you got to give credit, man, to Itachi and Seiko. Itachi, why is he not talked about as much? Like, why is he not talked about a lot?
I think it's just like there's powerhouses of the French players, and he's the one that gets look like people just look after, or not look after, but like they look past him, I should say. Like, I don't know why. His resume is insane. But like, people always want to talk about Zen, Monkey, Vatira. Fair play, right? They deserve it. But I don't know. Maybe there's just not enough love to go around for all the players.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room? How the fuck is Seiko playing the game that close to the monitor?
Yeah, his eyes.
I mean, that is like Valorant type shit. That can't be healthy. If you guys look at the bottom left, that is Seiko. And I mean, I don't know how people do it. That just looks unhealthy. That cannot be fun.
Would you rather sit like that or sit like Rawas?
Or Itachi. Look at Itachi. Itachi's doing it a little bit. Dude, that
got the FIFA lean. That's like the FIFA lean when you're playing against your friend and you're like on the couch.
Yeah, you're on the couch. Yeah, 100%.
That's what Tachi's leaning. Now RW Ross is different. That's
my god, bro. His chin. Have you seen Astral? Astral has his chin resting on his desk.
Oh yeah, that's insane too. Yeah, he does that. That's insane.
Look at Atomic. Yeah, that's a good shout as well. Atomic's close as well.
Dude, Atomic. This was the first time I've ever seen anyone do this. I show up to a LAN and he plays with his monitor tilted like it's CS:GO, so it's tilted up.
Yeah,
it's honestly like it's really. I think I tried it and I was like, dude, I can't do this. But like, it's
so he lowers it and then angles it backwards.
Yeah, so like if he tilts his monitor down and then the top of his monitor like, backwards, and then the bottom of his monitor like towards him, it's really weird. Like it's a CS:GO thing and an FPS thing, but now a lot of people are doing weird shit with their monitor in Rocket League, I guess, or their poses, whatever you want.
All right, I got a question for you guys. Now that we're done talking about that series, do we slowly stop? I mean, I know people are gonna say NA is a 2-region team still, but G2 taking down 2 of the 4 big teams in EU. Does that kind of put a little bit more of a quiet rest to the debate that NA can't keep up?
It should, but since mates are 4 seed, I can already see it now. It's like EU 4 seed beat NA 1 seed, your ass, you know? Like there's always going to be trolls, man. Like unless NA wipes the floor with EU and wins everything, there's always going to be someone with something to say. But theoretically, it should, right? Not only did they beat BDS, they beat Vitality, and yeah, they lost to Gentlemates, but I mean, Gentlemates beat K Corp. They were on one today. This should give people some more respect, but I don't think it's going to happen, especially with only one team up there. I think if Gen G were able to get that Gentlemates win, I think that'd be a whole different story, especially because they could have. But I don't know. I don't think we're going to see much of a change. I think it's going to be the same trolling and takes that we normally see.
We got an Itachi tweet that just came out. What is this? I don't even know what this means, guys. What is this?
Translate it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, dude, this guy is gonna sleep fucking amazing tonight. Reed, once you won that LA major, what were the vibes like after that? Just rock hard horny?
Pretty shit. I don't know, bro. It's just like you're on cloud 9 for the next week. Like you literally, you forget what it's like. Like it's really hard to, like, I don't know, bro. It's just, you just feel like a sense of relief because all the work you put in, bro. There's so much work that goes behind the scenes, and only one team can win one of these lands. You know, there's maybe 3 a year. Like, just it feels like all the hours, literally from the start of the game, the 10,000 hours, whatever you're at that you put in, just is like, holy shit. Like, you have a moment where it's like, wow, this paid off, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's gotta be amazing. Back to the G2 thing. I think you put G2 will always be in that category, but I feel like Gen G now is the one. Even though do you know what's crazy is Gen G literally could have beaten them. They could have. Yeah. They lost in Game 7 when I honestly thought they were. Yeah, I thought they were gonna have it. They had a chance to literally win the series.
Yeah, that's like a what if, you know.
But that's just how like Rocket League is in esports in general. It's like that one game. They could have been out. Instead, oh my God, they won 4-3, 4-3, 4-2. So, I mean, I felt like it was meant to be. It's just one of those things where it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Bro, look at those playoff brackets, though. Like,
dude, it's
1-4-1. Like, that's it. Game 6 or later for almost every match is like, we got that might be the best playoffs like of all time. Definitely contender.
Yeah, I don't know if it can really be top. That I usually when I do these when I watch matches and do these watch parties, sometimes I'm not really into the games and I'm like, and I just kind of shoot the shit and talk. But this was the first time I think the last 2 days where I was fully locked to every series, and I was because it felt like once you hit that Game 6 mark, it's like, dude, we could get a Game 7 here. Are they gonna close it out? Are they not gonna close it out? So, dude, I thought that was the most fun I have ever had watching. Something I wanted to bring up to you guys is Squishy brings out the medals. It kind of reminds me of flashbacks of like when Dapper would do it, and who else did it in the past? Did we have anybody else do it?
Panda did it.
Panda did it. Kronovi, yeah. What'd you guys think of them bringing out Squishy to do it?
I mean, I think it was really cool. I think it was really cool to make this like it was almost Squishy's major. You know, they had the little thing for him, the media thing. They flew him out. Rule One's doing stuff with him, meet and greet. I mean, that's just such a legend of the game. Seeing him get involved for something like that was really awesome. For me at least.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool handing out the medals. It was something I should have expected it because we knew he was there and they already did a segment. But I just didn't really think about it. But, man, it was cool. You can see the players. They have the appreciation for him. Seiko wanted to give him a hug. And, yeah, man, you can tell a lot of people respect him. And it's really cool to see players that look up to him now winning. And now he's kind of giving them medals. Kind of a cool realization for them, I bet.
Bro, Seiko's the coolest dude.
Is he? Why's that?
Yeah, he's just the coolest dude. Like, I'm sure Fort Worth, Kev, if you're going, you can interact with him. But he's, like, one of the coolest dudes in the Rocket League community. Like, and the fact that like all 3 of these dudes, I'm pretty sure are like cool dudes, it makes it even better because you know some people are like, I don't really like that guy, but like seeing these dudes win, it's like wow, that's a good feeling, you know, because they deserve it.
I don't really dislike anyone on this team, which is good. Very likable.
No, that's a good point because a lot of the time these majors happen, you're kind of like, there's always those people like, let's say for example, if KC wins, people say, oh, I don't like Rise. He's too cocky. He shit talks. Like, he's this and that. It's, and Vati, they say the same thing. He's like cocky because they're confident in themselves. But it was really cool for, like, someone said in chat, see an underdog story go the whole way and win. I wasn't even mad. I wanted G2 to win, but when they lost, I was like, damn, bro, you just got to tip it. I mean, these guys, congrats to them. They're all putting on, they all put on a good show, and they're all likable people.
I mean, this is probably the most, like, underdog of a team to win a major, right? The only one I can think of was Chronic's fall major run with Genji. That's the only one I can think of. But I feel like this one's better than that.
Yeah,
at least in terms of underdog.
Underdog, definitely. I think this is for sure. I mean,
you think this is the biggest underdog to ever win?
I mean, like, okay, last Worlds, who won? Vitality 1 seed or whatever. Before that, I mean, it's not worth it to go through all the.
But yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, there's nothing at the top of my head where I was like, that team wasn't like a top 4 team going into it.
I think this is definitely undoubtable best underdog for the open bracket. Maybe if you go super far back, back in league play, maybe. But
all right, I got a question.
How many people have them?
Go ahead, Reed.
Oh yeah, no. Fuck me. Now you got it.
I was gonna say, dude, I honestly forgot what I was gonna say, but welcome to the quick chat. But I was gonna say, where does this go going forward for Mates? Are you confident they keep this going?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing because I don't know if you saw, but in Seku's interview, he said something like, I lost to Vitality all these times in their era, but now it's like the Mates era. I thought that was really cool. But for me, man, I just don't know because I'm trying to think, right? What does this mean for next split? Because they're going to be the 1 seed. They're going to feel like they're on top of the world, and all eyes are going to be on them until they lose. But I mean, if you guys even remember, Gentlemates lost in the first, I believe it was the first open qualifiers. They had to make it through the lowers because they lost to Endpoint. And Endpoint's a good team, obviously. And obviously, Gentlemates have progressed a lot too then. But it's just going to be very interesting to see. And especially with a format like this where no one has really secured anything. We saw K-Corp lose in the open bracket as well. A lot can happen. I think they're still going to make the next major. I don't think they're going to be the 1 seed. I think they're going to be the 3 seed. I think K-Corp's going to find their way back to the top. I think BDS will be there as well. I think Gentlemates will be 3rd. I think Vitality will be 4th. I think EU is going to have the same representatives.
Go ahead, Kev.
I was waiting for you. But yeah, man, I'll go for it. I think Gentlemates will be. I don't think they'll be the best team in the online split. They do, but I will say they'll probably be realistically the 1 through 3, like you're saying. And I would probably have. They do play at the LAN setups. They all play next to each other, so they have a real. I mean, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't make the major. And nowadays, besides people being like, they might not make top 8. Nowadays, you're kind of like, this team's going to make top 8 every time, in my opinion. Like, that just jumps you the standard so much for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, if we're doing top 4 rankings, I probably still see Karmine number 1 seed. Like, they're just insane. Like, I don't think they this is their fall off. I do put Gentlemates 2, though. I'll put Gentlemates 2, and then BDS 3, Vitality 4, maybe flip-flop. But, yeah, I don't know. Gentlemates just kind of proved me wrong. They stepped up, and I don't want to bet against them anymore, so I got them 2nd.
I mean, you say that, and some guy in chat goes, you're still doubting them. And honestly, we still kind of are because, like, yeah, we should be having to make the major, but shouldn't the real conversation be like, are they going to be the best team in EU?
I mean, bro,
that's the better question.
We watched KC for 3 open qualifiers, literally just kind of piss on everybody.
Yeah.
So like 1 loss from Gentlemates playing maybe some of their best RocketLeague is not enough to just be like, what the fuck? Why is it Gentlemates won? Like what? Like, bro, we've seen the resume from Karmine Corp is just longer and more impressive. At least in the online era, and that's what we're talking about here. Like what we think is going to happen going to the next major. So like that's insane if you think Gentlemates is automatically rank 1 for, the next online split of the season.
I think as well as, I mean, I don't know how you feel about the Chicago and Kep, but I feel like in general, RocketLeague as a whole, I feel like the skill gap is as close as it's ever been. We saw Shopify go from a top 4 to not making the regional. We saw Moist, who a lot of people had making this first major, miss his 2nd regional as well. There's so many, Omelet almost beat G2. There's so much stuff where people would be like, oh, this team has no shot. And then they make crazy upsets. I mean, both in NA and EU, we see it all over the place. So I think it's so hard, even though they did just win, to like lock them in as that 1 seed. I find it very difficult for me. Obviously, I still have them making the major. I think if you have a team winning a major and then not making the next one, I think that's kind of absurd. But honestly, man, with how close everything has been, I don't think anything's guaranteed anymore, especially with how this format's settled and everyone has to qualify through opens.
Yeah, to me, once you make top 8, it is literally just how you play on that day. Like, any of these teams can beat each other for the rest of the majors, I think, going on in the future of Rocket League. I don't think you're ever going to get a matchup where you're like, that is 100% a guaranteed win. But I'm going to ask you guys another question. Of the teams you're seeing right here, and I'm gonna take out Fury of this. Of the other teams, do you think any of these teams should make a roster move? Because obviously Furia had a bad performance in the top 8. So I feel like obviously we might say them. Would you guys say them or no?
No.
I feel like the thing with Furia too is like,
I don't want to say Furia.
I don't know who they would get. The only, I think Sam Diaz is really good, but I don't know if like
that Diaz
I don't know who you make
nasty.
room for. I don't know. Like I do think Diaz is one of the best players in Sam right now. But the thing is, if you're Furia, I don't think there's a clear person to kick. Even if Diaz is really good, I don't know. But I mean, I think the obvious one that we kind of have to discuss is, even though they just got top 4, I know Zen's got to have some thoughts in the back of his head of what am I going to do now. So I think that's going to be interesting to see. I could maybe see BDS. I don't think we will, but I could maybe see like a BDS Vitality swap, like Vitality poaches someone from BDS, Vitality gets Alpha or something like that, right? Like, that's the only one I could really see here. All these are the teams I'm looking at. I just don't really see it happening. But what about you, Kaga? What do you think?
I don't see any moves. I think all these teams are so good. It's just literally one match. How did they play on that day? Like, I think it would be insane.
Yeah, if you make a top 8, it's hard to make a change. Like you're saying, it's just unrealistic. I don't know.
It's literally just that is the most unreal top 8 teams in the world, and it's just one match. Like, if I don't know, I don't see anything happening, but who knows? Rocket League's a crazy fucking game.
I guess the reason I was asking that question is because, like, does a team like Furia, do you think they're a change away from potentially winning it all? Because I just don't know if I see them winning like the whole event.
Yeah, but they went 3-0 in Swiss. So it's like, we were like, do we think they can win? Like, they go 3-0.
I know, we were
what more they
questioning
can
it.
do.
I agree.
Like, they lost one. Like, the shitty thing about Swiss is, like, bro, they lost one series this whole event, and it was the one to knock them out. And it was literally one where it's like their first game in front of crowd. Like, there's so much stuff that I think you could probably say, like, maybe they should change, but there's also a lot of reasons why I think they shouldn't.
And it's crazy, too, because we're a goal away from saying the same thing about Gentlemates. If Gen G close out in that game 6, it's the exact same situation. Yep. Oh, this team just went first seed 9-1, 9-2 in Swiss, whatever they went. Oh, should they make a move? But no, I mean, what ends up happening is they end up coming back in that game 6. They win the game 7. They stop Gen G. They beat K Corp, and they win the major. I mean, I think if Furia play how they did in that Swiss, they could have had a similar run than Gentlemates. And, like, obviously, we look at this now and say, like, oh, they got rolled by Vitality. But, I mean, Kep said it himself. It really comes down to how you play on that day. And sadly, Furia were just not as dominant as they were in that Swiss stage.
Yeah, I guess for me, obviously they're that close to doing it. But if you pick up, like, let's say you are Vitality, people obviously they're always going to say Rado. Like, he's just always the guy they're going to pick out. If they picked up, I don't know who, but you don't think that ups their chances and they might consider something like that?
It really depends on who's on the market and if they're able to poach someone. I think their best bet would be being able to pick someone up that's already on an organization. And obviously, a lot of people don't consider that when they're talking about roster moves of, like, what contracts will allow. Like, for example, like, this is obviously an extreme, but, like, what if K Corp wanted to pick up Zen, right? Vitality just signed him for like 2 or 3 years or something. Like, there's no way in hell Vitality's going to give him up for anything less than a shit ton of money. So I think if Vitality were going to go down that route, they'd have to poach someone from a team like BDS or something like that, like another team where they know they could get a player that could perform. Because I don't think there's like a superstar in EU that's on like a really bad team or like no org at all. So I think it'd be hard. I think it's possible, but if they are going to make a move, it has to be now. We know this is the only window, so it's going to be tough. But I mean, we'll have to see.
So our final thoughts: none of these teams make changes, and they just keep rocking.
I don't think so, but who the fuck knows?
I think there's a 50-50 on Vitality, and then I think the rest probably not.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's jump in to our plays of the day. Reed, you want to break this one down for us?
Yeah, this is the game changer of the series, in my opinion. Vitality up 2-0 by like 45 seconds left or something. I could be wrong. G2 scores one, right? But the second one, Daniel been a little bit quiet for maybe our liking, our expectations, but turns this solo play less than 10 seconds left, ice beyond belief, into a crazy reset where he just gets an angle past all three defenders. Now the defense was questionable. Like let's not
Yeah.
not mention that the defense is pretty poor out of Vitality, but shit like that's gonna happen, right? So you just have to capitalize, and that's what Daniel did. Crazy shot, carried the momentum, and huge for G2 in the rest of the series. But just pure skill there, questionable defense, but is what G2 needed. Insane ice out of Dan. Well played.
Yeah, I think the impressive thing is I see Flitz go at it with some guy in the chat right now. I love that
That
Flitz.
dude,
I love
he's got
that.
something going on.
Nah, talk your shit, Flitz. Hey,
I
real
mean,
quick.
he just said he said I told him Vitality's not gonna pick anyone who's not French. And he said Seiko. Like,
No,
I'm gonna
he
be
called
honest.
you- he called you
did
a-
he not just win a major? Why would he leave his team?
No, I'm gonna be real, Bino.
I don't know. That's
They're not.
nuts. That's
Seiko
nuts.
ain't getting off that fucking team. They just want a major. They will never let him vibe, and let him go.
I don't know, man. If I'm winning a major, I'm leaving that team. You know, just the second I win, I'm gone. That's me.
Y'all forgetting about Falcons. They almost won 2 times. Vatira, Crap Tau, and Fall. Wow. AlphaKep the best. Your viewers are cooked. They are.
Hey, AlphaKep's the best. I appreciate you, man. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. But yeah, I do think this play. I think what's insane about this is one. I do agree the defense is but also at the same time, who the hell expects like somebody to find an angle from this point to throw a reset on net?
That literally looks impossible.
Yeah, exactly. And he somehow throws it around and it goes bar down perfectly. So yeah, I think that shot was huge, and that was a key reason of like why they got that job done that series. The next one we have right here, Flitz, what do you think about this angle from Juicy?
I mean, I think this was a nuts angle, but I think the most important thing about this was like the situation of this game, right? Like this is a do or die game. K-Corp's on that match point. He has to score this, and he slots it perfectly. I mean, look at that angle. 2 defenders at net, and they're not able to reach it.
Yeah, I mean, this is just this forces them game 7, and this was where you're like, okay, this dude is different. I mean, that's just a great shot.
Moment.
Yeah.
At this point, he was like, fuck everything. I'll do it myself.
You know what's crazy is he comes from last season. He comes from what? Moist. He was teamed with Joyo and who was their third? I'm blanking.
It was Cash.
Cash. Yep. And they made a LAN, and I'll be real. The whole LAN. I remember. I'm gonna stay with what I said earlier. Like when we were watching that LAN, is I was like, dude, Joyo has no fucking help. That was literally my thoughts. And Juicy this LAN now gets a new team. He goes on to win the fucking major, and he puts on an MVP performance where he wins MVP. So what I guess that's kind of weird to me is how does he shine so much on this damn team? Is it his teammates helping him like that?
I think Juicy's just improved a lot individually. I mean, I think that Moist team was his first team. I don't know if nerves would quite be the word I'd use. Maybe you could use the word nerves, but just in general, like he was a little bit inexperienced. But I think this jump to Alpine, obviously being his second season and his second team, like I think, yes, his teammates are elevating him, but I also just think individually he really has improved and become such a better player.
You know what's weird to me? It's like, did they drop? They drop him?
I think it was mutual. I think he wanted to leave, and I think they didn't want. I don't think Joy wanted to play with him, so it works out. It's definitely a fuck you moment for
dude. This might sound fucking crazy, but like the whole time I've always thought Joyo is like needs help. And now I'm starting to, now that I'm seeing like Juicy shine like this on another team just instantly, obviously Seiko and Itachi are fucking beasts. There's a reason they wanted to team with him. But they definitely, Chrome, like you're saying, they definitely had to have some internal problems, I feel like, or something. I don't know, something just is in the air that I can't like put it to, I guess. But yeah, I don't think.
So are you saying Joyo is the problem?
Don't do that. Joyo is very good, but I'm just saying, I wonder if there's shit behind the scenes of why things aren't working the way they should be when you have that much talent.
Okay.
I like
No, I
what
get
you
what you're
did though.
saying.
There, you got balls doing
Yeah.
that on the
I
quick
mean, I
chat.
wish you would answer because I know you got an answer in the back of that dome, don't you?
I mean, my answer just got said. No.
I mean, you
But
asked, you had a question. You said, I wonder.
yeah.
I think you know.
Like
I
I
think
said,
you know.
let's get
Wonder.
into the next top plays, fellas. On the quick
Okay,
chat. The
chat.
final one we have is Daniel going up, getting a reset, and I mean, dude, at this point in the series, I thought this is when I was watching the. I was like, dude, this is a turning point, and now we're starting to see this G2 team come fully alive. Daniel goes high. He pops it out early so no one can contest him. Juicy can't get up to it, and he throws a reset down. And it was a good shot, and I really thought this was going to be a turning point in the series. Obviously, they go on to lose the next game. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this play. You guys got any input on that?
That's just clinical. That's just
It reminds me of the one we saw from First Killer, like 2 days ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
Very like similar shot. I think this one was just that more important. I really thought this was going to be like the turning point. I actually thought this was going to go to 7. I thought this right here was just huge for momentum.
Yeah, I was overall, I would say I thought all of I mean, you don't make the grand final without being good and playing great. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how G2 represented NA in this final. And I thought going forward, I think a lot of people are always, no matter what, going to be like, G2 can win it. G2's got a great chance of making top 4 and winning it. So that's a good sign. Where do you fellas want to go from here? Do you guys want to jump into a call with some of the fellas for a bit, for like 15 minutes?
sure.
Bring some questions in. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do next is we are gonna bring you guys in Discord. If you want to join, there's already some people in the queue. Guys, you are only allowed to ask one question. All right? You can ask one question. I have our notes up, but it's fine. We are gonna drag people in. If you want to ask one question about our thoughts on any teams, any of it, we're gonna do this for about, we'll say, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and then yeah. So the first person, you guys see anybody you want to drag in?
Kago, I feel like you got to go first, man. Let's pick someone.
Okay, well, some of these people that
they were here yesterday.
No, I don't. I want to be fair, to be honest. I want to
let's get some new people. If you guys were here yesterday, you know what I mean.
Let's do Pop Tart. Let's do
Pop Tart. Pop Tart wants to get in here, man. Pop Tart, hop in. Pop Tart, what's cooking, playa? Pop Tart.
Pop Tart, don't do this to me.
Yo,
there it is.
Yo, what's up, Pop Tart?
What's good? Happy Easter Sunday to everyone who celebrates.
Hey man, likewise.
I had a question about, you guys kind of already talked about it, but I was just gonna ask, why do you think the barriers to be successful are so high in Rocket League? Because you've seen teams like Solari and Endpoint, they've been in the scene forever, but haven't had any significant results in the past, and obviously Dig, Oxygen, TSM won't be considered top 4 in their respective regions. Clearly, they have the money, funding, and operation in place to support a team because they are still in the scene, have decals in the shop, whatever. And whereas other teams like FaZe have departed, what's preventing them from being consistently, like preventing an org that has been consistently considered an outlier or written off, not be able to spend a bunch of money
and all that?
Yeah, to win over elite talent and compete with the likes of everyone else outside of, language barriers.
Yeah, I mean, to start it out, it's definitely a money I think orgs want to stay involved in a game so they have more things to tweet about and be involved in more, but also it is so much damn money to get. If you want these top players, you better be expected to pay them over 6 figures a year, like these top dogs. And if you don't, then you're if you don't want to it's like, for example, Call of Duty. You got LA Thieves had a great team last year, and then this year they decided to get a cheaper team and stay in the scene. And I feel like a lot of orgs aren't willing to throw down 10 G's a person plus to have that top team. But I don't know, if you're in Rocket League, yeah, you would think you want to be the best, but also some people are just satisfied with just being in the game. Reed, what's your question on that? What's your answer to that? Because you've obviously have more experience with orgs and pro scene than me.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of it is, it's spending a lot of money. You got to spend a shit ton of money if you want a good team. And as it is, bro, like kind of a good amount of orgs already have a monopoly on the good teams. Like G2, they're in it. They have a good rep. Like they're always going to have a better team because people want to play for them. And it kind of goes for the same in EU. Like, bro, and I say this as an American, if I could play for a Gentlemates or a Karmine, that would be like the dream if I was French. They do so much for your brand as an individual. And obviously as a team, they support you like insane. So a lot of it's just some orgs are just, more attractive to players, as well as, those orgs are willing to spend the absurd amount of money on what it takes to have a good Rocket League team. Because sometimes for a lot of orgs, it's probably just not worth it to put in the kind of money for maybe like no guarantee of like anything back, because that is possible. So a lot of it's just a lot of money.
Flitz, you got anything to add to that? Or are you with
No,
us?
I think you guys covered most of it. A lot
Hey,
of it
Pop
definitely comes
Tart,
down to
I
money,
appreciate
so.
you coming on the quick
Could
chat,
I
brother.
could I ask a follow-up question real quick?
No.
You can go in the call, and maybe if we go through everyone, we can get back to you. But just one for now.
We're
Thank you
trying
for
to hold
coming.
it to one
Yeah.
because yesterday we had like
Yeah.
4 fucking questions for one
Yeah.
guy, and we're like, all right, come on, man. But we
I
do
got you.
appreciate you coming on the quick chat, Pop Tart. Appreciate
Thank
you,
you,
brother.
Pop-Tart.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's pull in the next person.
I appreciate him asking.
No,
at
I
least,
do
you
too,
know? It
rather
just-
than-
it's like,
yeah.
here's the other one that I didn't tell you about.
Are you guys
So
calling us a
matters,
fucking
it matters.
bully? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like you know what I mean? Let's bring in TV. He drops some subs sometimes. Let's see what the guy's up to.
Okay, he gets special
Yep,
treatment. Chat.
okay,
You hear
yeah.
that?
I wouldn't say that
Okay,
at all. I
chat.
wouldn't say that at all.
Okay. Welcome, TV.
TV, how's it going, player?
What's up, y'all?
How you doing,
Hey.
man?
Good.
Love it.
All right. My question is, how important are coaches on the RLCS team? And do you think that plays an important factor in why Vitality didn't do as good as they should have in this major?
Nah, I fuck with that question because I think some coaches get a bag because they're obviously friends with some of the people. And because back in the day, it was, oh, you're like a friend of a team, you coach. Oh, yeah, I set up our scrims, we'll pay you and stuff. But I do think coaches nowadays are a lot more valuable than what they used to be. Nowadays, I feel like there's actually, there's way more to it of breaking down every replay, how to like tactics on how to beat teams like Fair and stuff. But then I do think there are still coaches out there that kind of do, a little bit more on the minimum side, such as just setting up scrims, and they're not as useful to their teams. But Reed or Flitz, you guys want to take over the Fairy Peak part?
You got it, Flitz.
Well, I mean, I was just gonna say in general, like I kind of just agree with most of what Kep said. Like I do think some coaches are definitely there for just a bag. But one thing I can tell you is like there are definitely some coaches, and there's definitely some coaches I've worked with as well, where you can tell like which coaches like actually care, put in a lot of time, and I think you can also see the results in some of them. And whether you like him or not, one person I will give a shout out to is Nick, because even though Nick is like the most annoying dude of all time, that dude cares so much about his team on any team he's on. He goes above and beyond, and most of the rosters that he's been on has been relatively successful. And I think there's some players with that constant success, or some coaches, I should say. Farah, I guess Nick for this example, just in general. I do think it's hard to tell because some coaches don't care, some do, but the ones that do, I think you can tell.
Okay, no, TV, you're gonna have to hold on for a second because I'm about to ask him a question. Why does he get kicked from like a lot of the teams he's on? Then, because I've heard of like 3 different teams he's had issues with, and they didn't like him and they didn't agree. So like, why would that be? If you're like, what are you claiming he does? Like you're saying he cares a lot, but is that like the big thing?
I think sometimes it can be overwhelming depending, because also it depends on the team as well. Like some teams don't want a coach to do absolutely everything, right? My theory for the Dignitas one, or at least the first Dignitas one, is I feel like when Jack was on that roster, I feel like Jack is someone that it seems to be like an in-game leader type of person, so I could see them two clashing, possibly. I do think it depends on the players that you're coaching, that like whether allow them to take over, as well as the orgs and stuff like that. I know some of them are like, I know as he's like my friend, someone I talk to, I know some of the reasons I don't completely go into, but I don't think it completely has to do with his actual coaching style, because I think
So
a
you
lot
think
of
it's just
what
like,
he's taught to some of the players is stuck.
You think it's more so outside of coaching?
I think it's a mix of both. I think his style's not for everyone, but I think he still knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I respect someone that cares a shitload.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than someone that's there to write down scrims and
catching
then,
a bag.
give the coach title.
100%. Hey,
So.
TV, I appreciate you coming in and asking a question, brother.
No problem, man. Y'all be easy.
Hey, take care, bro.
Man.
All right, next person, Flitz, hit us.
That dude's got the deepest voice.
That
I've ever
dude,
heard.
bro.
Hey, man.
That was like Kembe Mutombo, bro. That dude had the deepest voice.
Is LeBron gifting you subs, or who is that?
TV, are you fucking LeBron? I mean,
That guy's
shit.
7'8", bro. That has to.
That dude
Chill.
has to be at least 6'8". That dude has to be at least 6'8".
Guys,
Dude,
I don't know if I want to
your
drag
dick's
him
big.
in.
Okay.
Why is Cosmic in there?
That dude's a fucking Kep mega fan.
Let me see what Cosmic is about.
I don't
What do you want?
We picked Cosmic. Hey, Cosmic. Welcome to the quick chat.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. What's
Do you
your
have an
question?
extra question, or are you just a fan?
So my only question is, will SSG be able to beat Gen G in the upcoming split?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Surely
next
we don't
question.
go 0 for fucking 9 or something.
Exactly. There it
We'll
is.
play them 8 times, but yeah, win coming soon.
Also,
I disconnected him.
I was gonna
Bro.
say you suck ass.
Terrible ass question.
Yeah.
All right,
Get
so I
that
didn't
goofy
get to pick.
shit
I
outta
didn't get to
here.
pick. You
No,
took
that one's on
Cosmic.
Cap. That one's on
Okay,
Cap.
that's on me.
Yo,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
That dude just cooked me, bro.
I feel like Fishy's got something cooking for us.
Fishy. What's his profile
You
pic?
know? Yeah, I
Oh,
got him.
fuck.
I can't drag anymore. You took
Yeah,
my drag perms.
I didn't do anything. I haven't even touched it. Hey, Fishy.
Yo,
Fishy.
Fishy.
Welcome to the quick chat. How we feeling?
All right, my question is, how do you guys feel about? Hold on, let me mute this real quick.
Yeah, good.
How do you guys feel about like diamond threes and platinums, like ranking pros and giving opinions and this
Ooh,
and
like
that?
cast and stuff.
Nah, just
Oh,
like
Cap, you put those
just
words
like
in his mouth.
fans.
Let's chill.
No, I was.
just
I was.
like
Go ahead,
just
Fishy. My
like
fault.
people that watch the game but like aren't very good at the game and like critique the game.
I mean, I think anyone's allowed to have their own opinion, but I think if you're gonna like, okay, Kep said caster. Like, let's say there's some caster that's so happens to be
casters
diamond.
already.
Yeah, but like whether it's a caster or a creator or just anyone that's like a little bit of a lower rank, I think one thing that you should acknowledge is the people that are going to know the most are the people that are involved the most. Like, for example, Chicago's take on a player is going to be a lot more accurate than someone who's never played a pro in his life, right? So I think you're allowed to have an opinion, but I think you need to keep in mind exactly who is giving that opinion.
That's dope.
No,
Yeah.
no, I agree with that because it's one of those things. It's like in like as a fan of anything, like a basketball fan, right? Like my equivalent basketball skill is probably like fucking plat, and I don't know. I'm over here. I judge NBA players and stuff the same. So I mean, I think it's just part of the game and everything.
Yeah.
It's part of
It's-
the fun, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly
But
a
still,
skill to like. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
Nah, you'll like see people on Reddit and stuff like saying this player sucks and this and that. But I'm just like,
never go to Reddit, bro.
I'm gonna
I
be
wanna-
real. It's
so bad.
or like
it's
even
something you have
Twitch
to
chat.
learn. I mean, yeah, it's something you have to learn, bro. If I could give any advice to any up and coming player, is do not look at like Twitch chat and do not look at Reddit or even like maybe Twitter. I don't know, because again, people will say some like shit they don't even know what the fuck's coming out of their mouth, but they just want to say it because they have an opinion, which is fine. Everyone's allowed one, but you have to be able to separate what opinions matter and which don't.
Mhm.
And Reddit people, 99% of the time, Twitch chat do not matter. Like they are just saying whatever. They are a fucking a flock of birds just agreeing with each other, saying this guy stinks, this guy stinks. And a lot of the times it might not even be true. So you just got to
Yeah.
realize which opinions matter to you and keep those people close because they obviously know what they're talking about.
Facts.
Hey, brother, appreciate
Alright,
you. Appreciate the question, man. Thanks for hanging out, bro.
You boys have fun in the quick chat.
There you
Ooh,
go.
I love that. I love that.
I don't know about you, Kago, but every now and then, man, I'm guilty of looking up my name. Bro, every time I've looked up Flitz, it's like, this fucker needs to die. This is the worst Rocket League player I've ever seen. It's so bad. Dude,
I
oh,
stopped looking at Reddit like probably like around like two or more, 2.5 years ago. Like it's the worst thing for someone's mental. I know
It's so
Garrett's
bad.
talked about it, other pros have talked about it. It's literally like a mental fucking like drainer just looking at a website.
Yeah, no, I remember like when I signed to Incorrect, we got like a Reddit post, and so I was like, oh, let me go check this out. And like the top comment was like, Flitz needs to go work at McDonald's. Stop wasting your time. I'm like, damn, dude, come on, bro. So I mean, I used to fucking care about it a lot. Now I'm able to laugh at it, which is funny, but they're
Yeah, dude. I
ruthless.
mean, when those little fuckers try to talk to me, bro, I just tell them their heart's stuck like diamond and shit. Like you can't give
that's
an
what
opinion
people
unless you
realize,
compete at the
man.
top, right?
That's why, like, I didn't even think about his question like that, about like how people like feel about like, I guess, me as a player, because like now I've come to realize half the people that have an opinion on me like genuinely can't double jump, so it's not a big deal.
Dude, as I've gotten like I've grinded the Twitch over the years, I used to care when I had like 100 viewers, I cared more than I did like even to the point now. I think as it goes on, you just don't care what people think of you. You just keep doing your own thing.
Mhm.
But yeah. Let's bring in another person. We can bring in a couple more people, guys. We can't get in everybody because we don't want to be here for 2 hours. But let's get another person in here. Who we thinking? Let me get.
It's your pick.
Is
Cap.
it on me?
Pick.
Let me get
Yeah.
D Melly. Let me get D Melly. I recognize the name.
You
Melly.
always pick the people you know. Yo, welcome to the quick chat.
Melly.
Come on, Melly, don't do this.
Earth to
There you
Melly.
go.
Come on.
There you
There
are.
we go.
Yo, so I had one question for you guys.
Yeah.
I even wrote notes for it. So
Okay.
as a viewer, as a casual Rocket League like viewer, like why would I be incentivized to watch like next season's outcome? Because every season it seems like it's changing. You know what I mean?
I really have no fucking idea what you mean.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, go for it.
Melly,
Can
mute the
you-
fucking stream in the background.
Yeah. That's my bad. That's my
Nah,
bad.
you're gonna play
No
him.
worries, bud.
I'm on my phone, but my question was like as a viewer, like a casual, like, you know, Rocket League viewer, like why, like, because teams seem to move so much like
Oh.
in the off
Okay.
season. So
Okay.
like
Okay. I get what you're saying.
even
now.
though this like RLCS was so dope, like why would I care about the next one? Like
I
because there's
think
probably gonna be a lot of
think-
movement. So what would incentivize me as a viewer?
to like grip onto
As
a
an
team
enjoyer
and like
to-
actually.
Yeah, I think my advice is to either pick a team or a player that you really like. Like, for example, you know, Chicago, great guy. He just recently went from G2 to SSG, and you know, some Chicago fans might not be sure if they want to root for G2
Yeah.
for SSG. But what I should say is that you should recognize that Chicago is a great player, a great individual, and you should follow Chicago's journey.
Doesn't
That's a
AlphaKep
terrible fucking-
Chicago $100?
Oh,
Yo,
All right,
That
get
he
that
does.
guy.
welcome to the
Hey.
quick chat.
All right.
Hey, why we
Also,
kicking out-
Melly, I don't
kicking out
know if
people
you
who tell
are
the
high
truth?
as shit or what, player, but
Hey,
what?
Melly, way to tell the truth. Let the
I
people know.
mean, what the fuck?
$200 now, by the way. Don't say
yeah.
100. It's 200 now.
All right, who do you want next, Kago? We'll let Kago bring in someone, then Flitz, and we'll wrap it up, guys. We'll have more. We have two more
Okay.
people. Sorry, we can't get everybody
Let's
involved.
go. Let's go, Squishy Pants. That guy seems like he's got something cooked.
Let me see his profile. All right. Squishy Pants?
Squishy Pants?
Earth to Squishy Pants.
Pants.
It's not looking great, boys. We give
There he is.
there
Hey,
he is.
here, here.
Welcome.
What
Yeah.
up?
Yeah,
What
what up?
up?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Hit us.
Okay, so question. I'm just another average viewer. But this question is specifically for like Chicago and stuff. With the tides like changing all the time and like competitiveness keeps getting harder and harder, what are like the things that you would do to like keep yourself calm and like be able to still
Hey,
perform
fuck
under
this guy.
the
Like,
immense
I don't
pressure,
compete.
knowing that like as you keep getting older and like as the seasons keep going on, new and upcoming people keep coming up?
I mean, there's no other choice but to, you got to keep playing. You can't just kind of cruise. If you want to keep up with skill, even if you're the best, you have to keep playing. You have to keep trying to make yourself better. So every time you launch the game or you play, you have to, think of something you can improve on, or whether it's scrims, whatever. Like, you have to be always looking to improve in some way. And then at the end of the day, you have to realize that whatever work you put in, it leads up to it. Like, at the moments of like the biggest pressure in tournaments, you have to realize that all your practice is for that moment, so you're prepared. There's no reason to be nervous. And at the end of the day, the easiest, like the best advice I have gotten is like, you're literally playing a video game for money. Like, who the fuck cares if you lose a game? At the end of the day, you're literally doing like a lot of people's dream jobs, and like you're lucky enough to do it. So it helps alleviate the pressure, because you're just like, bro, I get to have one of the best jobs in the world, even though it is stressful as fuck. It's something you wouldn't trade in for the world. So that helps a lot by, just helping you calm down and just realize how lucky you are to be there and
Let
do what
me
you get to
let
do.
me help. Since you were asking
go
me the
for it.
question too, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like you
Hey,
directed
Kev,
that.
I know you a former pro.
Come
Hey,
on, man.
Come
on.
I'll still be watching you all the time, bro. You are actually like one of the funniest, like best
Yep.
streamers out there.
Okay.
Come on.
Nah,
Hey,
nah,
chat.
like,
see how it's done?
for
See
real.
how it's done?
Hey, Hey, I'm also a person that lives in the same exact state, so I appreciate it.
Ooh, what part of
Okay.
Indiana
One
you
of
from?
10
Appreciate
people in Indiana.
Where you from,
Guys,
Indiana?
bouncing on it. Okay.
Where you from? You
Okay.
trying to go grab food or something? What you up to?
Bro, no, like dead ass, like for real though. The bars that you mention, I've gone to.
Really?
I've come to the conclusion that you are somewhere within an hour away from
Where are
me.
you
Why
at?
don't y'all just go on a date already? Like, what the fuck's going on?
Near Speedway area.
Oh, you're a bit away from me. I'm in Hamilton County area. Carmel.
Bro, are we
Fisher.
on a quick chat or are we on a date? What's going on?
I mean, are you
That's
trying to make
Tom, what
out?
we doing?
Are you trying to
all the
fuck?
time,
Bro,
bro?
oh my
Hey,
Yeah.
DM me, bro. DM me.
No,
boy.
no.
This guy's asking for your number. This guy's
Oh my
asking
god, get that guy fucking out of here. Motherfucker's
this guy's asking
crazy.
for your number,
Bro,
yo.
dude, we're gonna drag
Oh
someone
my
in here,
God.
and then be like, Cap, are you free this Saturday?
You're
That's gonna be
turning
the
into
one
a dating
question.
show,
All right,
bro.
we're good.
All
Welcome
right.
to the Quick Chat.
All right, it's my guy, right?
Yeah, you got one more, folks. We're gonna bring one more lucky guy in
Last
here.
guy, Blitz. No pressure.
Oh man, there's some people in here.
Oh my god.
Let's see, whose profile pic do I like the most? Oh man, this one is awful. Can we get trawlers in
No! One guy I don't want.
here? Fine.
No, I mean, no, let's let him rip. Let's let him rip.
Okay.
This guy's gonna have something
He's
demonic.
gonna ask for like Kev's dick size, bro. Come on. Yo, trawlers.
Somehow you made it in here, Charles. What?
Welcome
What?
to the Quick Chat.
Yeah.
What up,
What's
player?
up, man? You get one question. Let's make it big.
All right, so I want to talk about vitality a bit. So like,
Do you
so
even have a
I want to
question?
talk about vitality.
Okay.
So what like happened? Like, what do you think really went wrong with them? Because I feel like when I was watching them against G2, it was like Zen was like pinned back on defense. Like, I think Rodosa and Alpha didn't turn up, and like, is it a problem with their consistency? Like, is it more extreme? Is it like a more extreme case of G2 or? Like,
I just
what
feel
went
like
wrong?
I feel like the duo of Radisson and Alpha, especially compared to like a lot of people compare Daniel and Zen. So let's compare the duos of
Chrome,
Radisson and
I
Alpha
agree
versus
100%.
Beast Mode and Atomic. I feel like the floor of Beast Mode Atomic is always going to be higher than Alpha and Radisson. And I think they just ended up performing better than that duo because I felt like Zen was getting his, and he really was playing well. But I don't think Radisson and Alpha were really there to help him enough. So whenever Zen was kind of out of the play, I mean, you could even see it on that last goal in OT. Zen went for a flip reset, and yeah, it wasn't a great flip reset, but that shouldn't have resulted into a goal. But Radisson and Alpha tripped up over each other, and I felt like that was just all she wrote, really.
Yeah, I'll take it over here from
Yeah,
here, Reed.
for it.
I think that Chrome said a good point, and I agree with it. I think that they are slowly starting to lose trust in each other. That honeymoon's over, and I think once you start losing and people see you're beatable, you know what I mean? Things are starting to get scary. I wonder if Zen's starting to be like, fuck, man, give me some better fucking people.
Yeah, true. But like, they look like they had so much authority over Furia. So like, where did it all go wrong against G2?
I mean, it's different day. I mean, some days you'll wake up and feel a little bit better than the rest. But I feel like that first day vitality was just not the same as we saw in the semis. And it was very clear. And I think we talked about Radisson's performance. I feel like he had a great series against Furia, but didn't quite have that against G2.
I'm gonna before you leave. Why is your profile pic that?
By the way, check your Twitter replies.
No,
man,
get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, do it.
Welcome
all right,
to...
fellas. If you took part in any of the questions, hung out today, vibed with us, we can't get everybody into the quick chat, but we'll try to get more people in because honestly, it's one of my favorite parts we do of this. So if you guys did want to get involved in the questions, we're gonna try to bring new people on every time that we don't recognize. But hell, man, overall, incredible championship Sunday. Probably the most enjoyable LAN we've had. And yeah, man, hey, fellas, if you want to check out Chicago or Flitz on Twitch, Twitter, any of that, hover over the Twitch title right now. You can go to them, drop a follow. If you see them when you're going through Twitch one day, tap in there, see what's up, right?